Johnson's streak is over, courtesy of the slingshot. We don't have Pat Benatar, but there were a lot of heartbreakers this weekend. We sit down and talk to a driver making a change of venue on Friday nights in 2016. Hey, Bill, you can see the show just a bit better when your hood is down. RPW, let's roll. Hello and welcome to Race Pro Weekly. I'm your host, Mike Warren. Mark Johnson has a streak on his hands with 3 victories in a row on the season, but both Kenny Tremont and Brett Hearn are winless heading into the month of June. Would it be time for one of them to get there? Featherfoot Sportsman Series on hand first at Albany-Saratoga. Keep an eye on this one as John Proctor goes around, collects David Schilling and a number of cars down the front stretch as Nick Anitrello goes up and over. Head to the modified feature now. Brian Whittemore and Ricky Davis on the front row of this 35-lapper as Mark Johnson looks to go for 4 straight in this feature event as the cars working their way down the backstretch. Here's Kenny Tremont already to the inside of Elmo Reckner. Mark Johnson looking to follow, makes contact with Reckner down the front straightaway, then makes contact with Brett Hearn too, gets way up into the loose stuff, goes all the way back to the 25th position. Meanwhile, battle for the lead heating up as Jesse Mueller runs to the inside of Brian Whittemore for the number 1 spot. Mueller going to move to the inside. He'll take the race lead away with LJ Lombardo right there and keep Flack lurking right behind him. Both Lombardo and Flack would go to the outside lane trying to make something happen down the front stretch as Lombardo would move into second. Kenny Tremont on the move on the inside lane looking to get by Matt DiLorenzo for position coming down the front stretch. He's going to make that happen as DiLorenzo gets into the loose stuff a little bit as Tremont continuing to work his way up in this one. Robbie Pitcher would slow right in front of your leaders. Mueller would get by. Lombardo would have trouble. And on the next play around, it would be Keith Flack getting by him for the number 2 spot down the backstretch and into turn number 3 and 4. Wouldn't be long till Flack would power it up on the top side. He'd be your new race leader in that 43 machine, getting by Mueller and relegating him to second. Before you knew it, though, the Sand Lake Slingshot would be on the move, already moving into the number 3 spot, getting by Lombardo and working hard on the inside lane of Jesse Mueller down the front stretch. Tremont going to take it 3 wide as Hector Stratton's right there as well, and the 115 would go into the number 2 spot. Mark Johnson working his way back up feverishly, getting by Elmo Reckner and Bobby Hackle off at turn number 4, but now back to the front of the field as Tremont going to dive bomb to the inside, looking for the race lead on Keith Flack. As they work their way up through turn number 1 and 2, Tremont would take the race lead away down the back straightaway, and Flack with one last shot gets caught into the loose stuff, so it wouldn't be enough as Tremont takes win number 1 on the season. Keith Flack would have to settle for second. LJ Lombardo would finish in third, Ronnie Johnson 4th, and Mark Johnson would battle back to finish in 5th. Last week on the high banks, the Wild Child tied Brett Hearn on the season with his 2nd victory. Would the Jet be able to land for win number 3? It was the 4th annual J.C. Flack Memorial Modified Feature as the balloons raised up at Gentlemen Start Your Engines in his honor, and it would be Kyle Armstrong leading the field to the green as the driver from New Milford, Connecticut, looking for his first win of 2016 as he barrels the field down into turn number 1 and 2. Robbie Pitcher on the move early as he goes to the inside of Steve Huff looking for the number 3 spot through turn number 3 and 4. He would grab that, and Brian Berger working it up on the outside lane as well, trying to make his way up through the field in the early going. Kenny Tremont and Brett Hearn side by side. Hearn going to take advantage of that one using the inside lane to get by Tremont. Now a battle up into the top 5 as J.R. Hefner and Colby Schroeder go side by side for position as well, as Tremont works to get by Olvin Dwyer and Elmo Reckner going 3 wide down in the first third of this feature event. Now Colby Schroeder going to work on Steve Huff on the outside lane in that top-notch builder's machine as Kyle Armstrong continued to lead this one as Robbie Pitcher started to reel him in here at lap number 12. Pitcher with a couple of great shots at him before we get to the lap 20 mark as the Columbia Green Community College entry working to the inside lane, but Armstrong very strong in the early going. Brett Hearn already cracked into the top 5 as he would get by Colby Schroeder, and this car was on the move as those two continued to battle up front. As just shy of the 2/3 mark of this feature event, Hearn would work his way into the number 3 spot and try to reel in your top 2. Robbie Pitcher working to the inside that time, trying to get by Kyle Armstrong as they would drag race down the front stretch. Then Pitcher looking like he's got the momentum off at turn number 2. They race down the back straightaway. Contact between the two drivers sends trouble on the 11A of Kyle Armstrong as that would end his night. A tough break for the Newtown Pools, car number 11A. That would set up a 3-lap shootout for the win as Robbie Pitcher trying to hold on to the outside, but Brett Hearn is going to have none of it, ladies and gentlemen. He'd move to the inside lane trying to take the race lead away, and off at turn number 2, I just seen the jet take off. He's up to something as he picks up win number 3 on the 2016 season. Robbie Pitcher would finish in second. Eddie Marshall coming home third with a great run for the driver out of Ridgefield, Connecticut. Kenny Tremont coming home fourth, and Mike King would round out the top 5. At Fulton last week, X marked the spot in victory lane. Would we see another win just like it? Start you off with some late model action as Tony Finch the second gonna go around in turn number 2 as it would be A.J. Kingsley picking up the victory in that one. We move to the modified division now. The freight train, Andrew Ferguson up at the front of the field in this one as he was trying to pull the train into the station and pick up the feature event victory. He's going to have Max McLaughlin right on his tail, though, as Willie Decker working to the outside lane in the 57 as well, right behind him, trying to push to the outside. Chad Phelps working his way through. X marks the spot last week, but this week it's going to mark the Uke tire, unfortunately, as his front end is busted up after the contact. Off the restart, Ferguson right there, Billy Whitaker there as well. Decker on the top side. Look at the cars rain down the front straightaway. Matt Holsizer going to get involved as well on the inside as they go to work. Whitaker going to get by, and here's Tim Sears Jr. pushing to the outside lane up into turn number 3 and 4 as he works it off the corner. As Willie Decker going to go around up into turn number 1 and 2 as that would bring out the caution. Meanwhile, the 34 of Ferguson still holding on to this one, but Sears moving into the number 2 spot past Mike Bowman. Whitaker going to follow as well on the outside lane as Sears working the top side trying to get by your race leader. Jimmy Phelps right there as well, side by side with Holsizer as this 4-car battle would continue, but now the battle for the lead going to shape up again. Here comes the 83 of Sears working to the top side trying to take this away, and he would be your new race leader as he shuts the door on him up into turn number 1 and 2 with less than 5 laps remaining as Tim Sears Jr. goes on to pick up the win at the Fulton Speedway. Second would be Billy Whitaker, third Andrew Ferguson, fourth Mike Bowman, and Jimmy Phelps would round out the top 5. It's now time for our Kaiser Aluminum Wheels fan poll question, and this week, with Utica Rome going with a Thursday night show due to the recent rainouts, do you like midweek shows with just a regular racing car? Log on to our Facebook page and cast your answers, and we will read them on next week's show. Taking a look at last week's fan poll question, do you think Central New York Raceway Park will be hosting Super Dirt Week 2016? About 75% of you say no, it will not. Coming up on Race Pro Weekly, we'll see if Ronnie Johnson can work his way back into Checkerboard Square for the 4th time. And we'll head north of the border to see who picked up the win at Merrittville.
I'm Brian from 1-800-GOT-JUNK. This is my main man, Tom, and my other main man, Tom.
You never know how much junk you've got until you move.
Point to something you wish would disappear.
Would it be possible to... It's gone!
All you have to do is point.
Where have you been all my life?
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point.
There's only one place in the capital region for you to get the full racing action. Stop down at the Bobco video booth at the track or call 518-399-0937. Bobco Racing Video, the next best thing to being there.
If you're like me, your to-do list never ends. But with just one phone call, I protect my home, family, pets, and yard all year round. With Northeast Pest Control's Premier Home Protection Program, I don't have to worry about bugs and pests, and I don't have to worry about harsh chemicals either. Now how about that want to-do list? Thanks, Northeast Pest Control.
Ants, termites, mice, or bees, call today for your free estimate.
With Northeast Pest Control, we guarantee you'll live pest-free.
Welcome back to Race Pro Weekly. Kitty ride night at the Track of Champions, always a fun time, especially trying to get into Ronnie Johnson's cart. Hey, Bill, shouldn't you be taking pictures? Green flag will come out as the 816 of Jeff Rockefeller going to lead the field to the green in this feature event. Bobby Varon with an unusual up-front starting spot going to move into the number 2 spot on the outside of Vinny Sanginetti as he would break his way down through turn number 3 and 4. Mark Keselowski and Ronnie Johnson going side by side. Keselowski slips up a little bit. Meanwhile, battle for the lead starting to shape up as here comes the 00 of Varon on the inside lane trying to reel in the 816 machine. Meanwhile, Ronnie Johnson on the move as he goes 3 wide with Jeff Trombley and Bodie Bellinger for the spot through turn number 3 and 4. Back towards the front of the field, Varon starting to stalk the 816 of Rockefeller, and just as he gets him, the yellow comes out for Alton Palmer up over the banking in front of the Cow Palace in turn number 3 and 4 as that would bring the caution out onto the speedway. And off of the restart, Pep Karate going to work his way up along with Bodie Bellinger on the inside lane. Jeremy Wilder right there as well as they fight their way through. And here comes Ronnie Johnson working to the inside of Bobby Varon for the number 2 spot as he would take the runner-up position away. Varon going to battle him right back, though, and take the spot back, looking for the race lead through turn number 3 and 4. But the caution will come out for last week's winner of Pep Karate, bunching the field back up again. Off the restart, Bodie Bellinger slides into the number 3 spot past Varon, as Varon looking like he's going backwards a little bit in this one, moving to spot number 4, but he winded back up on the outside lane, looking for spot number 3 down the front straightaway, trying to take control of this one. As the caution comes out for the 21J of Jeff Trombley this time, and Varon off the restart goes on the outside lane, moves into second, works on Jeff Rockefeller. He knows how to head and be your new race leader down through turn number 3 and 4. Rockefeller going to try to battle back, but Varon too strong on the outside as Rockefeller bobbles. Here's Jeremy Wilder working on Bodie Bellinger after a rare miscue on the inside lane. But in this one, they weren't catching Bobby Varon as he grabs win number 1 in 2016 at Fonda. Second would be Jeff Rockefeller, third RJ, fourth is going to be Jeremy Wilder, and the Doctor would finish in 5th. Last week, Tim Kerr pulled off a huge win at Brewerton. Will we see a repeat performance at the D-shaped Dirt Demon? Spectator racing, one of my favorite nights of the year, is Chris Rombauer going to take the victory in the spectator races. Congratulations, Chris, but got a feeling I can beat you in my Toyota Yaris. A little bit of mod light action is Nick Graziano going to go up and over. And a tough break for him, and not a lot of car on that with the mod lights. He would be okay, though. And then in the Sportsman division, we had a little bit of incidents as well. A car going to go up and over. Turn 2 seemed to be Calamity Corner there at the D-shaped Dirt Demon. Green flag going to come out on the speedway as Andrew Ferguson, the freight train, going to lead him up into turn number 1 and 2. Chuck Bauer on the move on the inside lane, looking to get by Mike Bowman as Rich Galata right there as well for position, fighting for the runner-up spot. Meanwhile, Chuck Bauer working the outside lane. He'd take the race lead down the back straightaway in that 99 machine as he would go to work looking for his first win of the season out at Brewerton. Wouldn't be long, though, until he'd be met by Super Matt Shepard. As we head down to the last 5 laps, would bring it to the inside lane, looking for the race lead off at turn number 2. Then into turn number 3 and 4. Bauer going to swing it up to the top side, but here's Shepard down low, and Bauer just holding on. But Shepard still trying to battle on the inside lane with Power underneath him down the back stretch and take the race lead away, driving into turn number 3 and 4, and you weren't stopping Matt Shepard, who would grab the win at the Brewerton Speedway. Chuck Bauer would have to settle for second in another heartbreaker. Robbie Bellinger would finish in 3rd, Andrew Ferguson 4th, and Jimmy Phelps would finish in 5th. Other winners on tonight: Ron Davis III in the Sportsman's, mod lights to Jeremy Isabel, and Chuck Kowalczyk in the 4 cylinders. And as we mentioned before, Chris Rombauer picking up the win in the one-on-one spectator races. With names like Bicknell, Bowman, and Brockman already reaching victory lane at Merrittville, would anyone else join the fray to make it interesting? Up north of the border we go as we take a look at some mod light action as Rob Meisner going to go around and up and over once, and I think that would be about 6 points if that was a rollover contest. He would be okay. We move to the modifieds now. Todd Gordon and Mark Delario would lead the field to the green up at the Merrittville Speedway as Hi-Ho Delario bringing it to the top side. As Todd Gordon going to go to the outside now with Tommy Flanagan lurking to the inside of him as well, as it would be Delario taking the lead. The 37 of Flanagan going to move into second past Gordon down the backstretch. Cars on the move, including Mr. Small Block, Pete Bicknell working to the inside lane. as he tries to fight his way up through the field. Meanwhile, battle for second once again, as working to the inside is Todd Gordon. There's Chris Steele right behind him too, trying to fight their way up. Gordon having this one for a second, but a three-wide battle now for the runner-up spot. Just keep an eye on Flanagan on the top side. He would try to get out the second, and he would, and now Bicknell looking to move to the inside to take spot number 3 for position, but can't do it that time as car number 42 trying to turn the wick up a little bit more, but right now it would be Bicknell holding on to that position behind Gordon. Battle for the lead once again. Tommy Flanagan working to the top side that time. Just he can't seem to get past the 08 of Mark Delario, as now Bicknell still working to the inside of Todd Gordon for the spot off at turn number 2. They work their way off at turn number 4 down the front stretch. Here's Gordon trying to take the spot as the heavy hitters starting to move up through the field a little bit more, including the 15 of Tim Jones. But in front of them, go back to the battle for the race lead. Flanagan here with 15 to go. Still trying to work his way around the top side and just can't do it as Mark Delario just too strong. Eric Rudolph working his way up through the field as he goes to the inside lane and pick up another position in this one. As back to the battle for the lead here, Delario out to about 5 car lengths or so down the back straightaway, and that would be all he needed as Mark Delario grabs a win in the small blocks up at Merrittville. Second is Tommy Flanagan, third Pete Bicknell, fourth Eric Rudolph, and Todd Gordon would round out the top 5. Other winners on the night, Cody McPherson and the Sportsman, novice sportsman to Chris Waters. Mod Light's going to go to Derek Wagner. Mark Fawcett picking up the win in the Hoosier Stocks, and Tyler LaFontese in the 4 cylinders. Everyone here at Race Pro Weekly would like to send out our thoughts and prayers to the family of Ken Anderson, who passed away just last week. Anderson was a regular campaigner on the CVRA Tour and at Fonda and Lebanon Valley as well, in many different divisions. Reputable, reliable, results. That's what you get when you call Rick and the professionals at RCT Roofing. Quality service at fair prices. RCT gets the job done. Just like Nick Stone and the RCT Pro Stock. RCT Roofing, we've got you covered. Performance. Quality. Service. That's DMC Racing Products. Hundreds of name brand parts. Competitive prices. That's DMC. DMC Racing Products. Race to win.
Looking for outstanding service for your car, truck, or SUV? Speed's Garage is a family-run business providing the highest quality of auto care. From routine maintenance, brakes, engine, body, or paint work, you can trust the professionals at Speed's Garage. Speed's Garage has all the auto service you need, plus full towing for any vehicle. For championship service, go to Speed's Garage in Mellonville.
Welcome back to Race Pro Weekly. We'll start you off with some pro stock action out at Glen Ridge as Randy Konselman looking to the inside to take the lead. Little bit of a hip check off the corner, but he get it out there in front as Konselman will bring it around and pick up the win in the pro stock feature event. Now to the modifieds, it would be Jeremy Wilder and Sean Pangman up at the front of the field in this one as we got things going. Now, a lot of cars looking to push their way up towards the front. Trouble right away, though, on the 959 of Johnny Lutz. Some steering wheel issues in the 959 machine as that would sideline his night for a little bit. A battle between Bobby Varon and Craig Hansen for spot number 3 as they would go at it as Jeremy Wilder continued to lead this one. And keep an eye on Willie Decker on the 85 machine. Going to the inside that time of Jeff Rockefeller for position and hip check in the 00 of Varon right out of the way. That allows Hohenforce to get by as well as Willie Decker working his way up to the front. And with a spirited battle with the Apollo Rocket through turn number 3 and 4 as Hohenforce going to grab that spot away and move into spot number 4. Meanwhile, Decker would battle right back, and what a crossover move it was by Willie Decker as another hip check up into the corner as Hohenforce would lose a number of spots as they continue to ride their way through this feature event. Alt Palmer getting moved up to the top side that time as Hohenforce would get by. Now Rockefeller would join in on the outside of Bobby Varon for position. Off at turn number 4 this time. Down the back stretch, they ride Willie Decker right there with Varon once again, sitting right behind Pangman for position as these cars would duke it out in close quarter racing style at the Glen Motorsports Park behind Jeremy Wilder as he grabbed the win. Craig Hansen would finish in second, Sean Pangman third, Willie Decker fourth, and Bobby Varon would finish in fifth. Other winners on the night, Curtis Hohenschel will grab the win in the Sportsman, Pro Stocks to Randy Kosselman, Cruisers to Pete Vila, and in the Midgets, it would be Lou Torres. Lazaro's Auto Body King of Dirt Pro Stock Series. First, some heat race action as Nick Stone, Robbie Speed, and Dave DiPaolo come together. Robbie Speed would have to go to the rear of the field after that incident, which would set him to start deep in the 30-lap throwdown for the crown for the King of Dirt Series, as it would be the 87 of Walt Brownell taking the early race lead in this feature event, with Rob Yetman and Nick Stone in tow behind him. As Jay Casey loses a little bit of power down the back straightaway, he would gather it back up, however. Meanwhile, as they continue to run through turn number 1 and 2, Walt Brownell, your race leader, and keep an eye on this battle, which went for almost all 30 laps of this one. Nick Stone and the 7 of Rob Yetman, two of the biggest names in pro stock racing, going side by side as Nick Stone will move into the number 2 spot, now 1 spot behind your race leader. That battle will continue as Robbie Speed working his way up through the field as he would get by Kim Duell and now go to work on Pete Porter in the 5G on the inside lane as well, as Walt Brownell will continue to lead this one with a little bit of black heading to the inside as the track began to slicken up before this one was over. Meanwhile, Brownell, as he tries to go by Porter on the inside, Yetman takes the number 2 spot back from him as Nick Stone still working to the inside lane. Now Yetman with a shot at the race lead, and here comes Brandon Amy out of nowhere as well right behind him at the halfway point. Rob Yetman would take the lead for a couple laps, nosing out ahead down the back straightaway as they work it through turn number 3 and 4, but now we head towards the back. Robbie Speed still trying to work his way up. Byron Westcott and Charbonneau as well, but what a 3-car battle up front as Nick Stone rejoining the fray as Yetman working to the top side to try to keep it ahead of Brownell, but Brownell and the Saratoga Masonry machine doing a great job here before this one's all said and done. Robbie Speed now looking to make his presence known as he would crack the top 5, getting around the 47 of Dave Bissonette, but the caution will come out for the 97 of Dan Older, which would rebunch the field again. And take a look at this restart. Contact all over the place on this one as they come down the front stretch. Yetman gets shaken back out. Bissonette with the move as well. But Brownell would shake back out as your race leader off at turn number 4, and some beating and banging between the 27 and 7 machine. And then in turn number 2, Nick Stone goes around, going to collect Dave DiPaolo as well, which would set up a 1-lap shootout. Brownell drives the 7 of Yetman high, leaving the door open for Robbie Speed on the inside lane. Speed would nose out ahead. One last shot for Brownell. Tried to get him off the corner, but Robbie Speed goes 28th to 1st to pick up the win in the throwdown for the crown on the King of Dirt Series. Yetman would finish in 2nd, Walt Brownell 3rd, Mike White, a regular out at Utica Rome, coming in and finishing 4th, and Chucky Dombluski would round out the top 5. Other winners on the night, Jeremy Pitts picks up another one in the Sportsman, Limited Sportsman going to Rob Lanphier. Another win for Josh Coonrat in the Street Stock Division. 4-cylinder single cam going to Mike Perotti, and Steve Ryan does it again in the dual cam. We'll start you off with the last lap of the small block modified feature event where Elmo Reckner going to victory lane for the first time in his career at the Lebanon Valley Speedway. And boy, is Elmo happy as he gets out of the car. Twin bill of Sportsman at the Valley of Speed, as this was the held over feature from a couple of weeks ago, as Carmen Carnabucci and the 53 of Whitey Slavin would take the field to the green in this one, and it would be Slavin with the early race lead off at turn number 4 in that Cedar Peaks entry, as the cars would work their way up through turn number 1 and 2, getting together a little bit and scrambling. David Schilling and Rob Maxson running right together off at turn number 3 and 4, and Jeff Watson on the move early, already looking to move into spot number 3 as he would go to the inside of John Virgilio. Meanwhile, Maxson and Schilling come together, sending Maxson up high into the turn 1 wall. A tough break for Maxson, as that one going to be tough to fix, as the front end is absolutely destroyed on that machine. Off of the restart, Jeff Watson going to go to the inside of the Ultra Lube car number 22 machine, looking to go back-to-back in Sportsman competition. He'd slide up in front of him. Chris Lynch right there as well. Michael Sabia and John Virgilio right behind him as well, as now Sabia working to the inside of Lynch for position, but they weren't catching with Jeff Watson in this one as he picks up the win in the first Sportsman feature event. On to Sportsman feature number 2, a little bit of stacking up in front as Kevin Ward going to go around. David Schilling nowhere to go on the 1-800-GOT-JUNK entry, as that would bring out the yellow and a little bit of beating and banging down the backstretch. And look at Timothy Davis just going to slyly move right through on the inside lane as he would move up through turn number 3 and 4. And hey, there's Whitey Slavin working to the inside of Cody Oaks for the race lead down the back straightaway. Slavin looking to better his position from earlier in the night by 1 spot as he would take the race lead away, as Sabia and Lynch continuing to battle in the top 5-4 position, as now Michael Sabia going to dive in front of him as the caution will come out for the 21L of Alyssa Cody. Off of the restart, here comes Jeff Watson working it to the inside of Michael Sabia as Chris Lynch goes around at speed on the back straightaway. Luckily, nobody got into him down the backstretch. Well, maybe a couple cars got tagged and spun around, as that would bring out the caution once again. But Watson working to the inside now, Kevin Ward trying to crack into the top 3, along with getting by Michael Sabia and John Virgilio. A great run here, and what a battle for those positions throughout the night in these feature events, as this was for the number 2 spot now. But Whitey Slavin way out in front of this one in the 53 machine, and he would pick up win number 1 of the 2016 season in the 53 car. John Virgilio would get second at the line over Jeff Watson, who would finish in third. Michael Sabia fourth, and Kevin Ward would round out the top 5. Sportsman feature number 1, as we showed you from earlier, Jeff Watson grabbed the win. Slavin would finish in second in that one. Chris Lynch third, Michael Sabia fourth, and John Virgilio would finish in 5th. Other winners on the night, as we showed you, Elmo Reckner grabbing a win in the small blocks, Chuck Dowsley in the Pro Stocks grabbing the win, and the Pure Stocks would go to Dave Stickles, Bill Deek Sr., and Ray Hall Sr. Start you off with some novice sportsman action from Fulton, as it's going to be Hayden Burdick working his way to the inside to take the race lead away in that 85 machine, and he would go on to pick up the win in the novice sportsman. Great job, Hayden. To the Patriot Sprint Tour now, Danny Barron going to lead the field to the green in the 00 machine for the Patriot Sprint Tour as they work their way down the back straightaway. Corey Sparks on the move down the back stretch, as he would have a little trouble through turn number 3 and 4, as there were some contact sending a couple of cars around. Nobody gets collected, though, as somehow everybody scrambles past it. Off the restart, the Larry lane, as they call it up at the Fulton Speedway. Larry White working to the outside lane. He'd take the race lead away from Barron down the back straightaway, as now Brian Hallen working his way up on the top side, trying to make his way up through the field, trying to catch those top 2 in front. As Hallen continuing to go to work using the middle, as he would start to reel in the 45 of Chuck Ebing off at turn number 4 as well. But back to the race with the lead. Danny Barron finding something on the inside lane down the backstretch. Now 5-car length separating first and second, as Barron would take the race lead back away on lap number 18. We head fast forward to the final lap now. Here comes Larry White working it up at turn number 4 for the final chance, but it would be Barron at the line, picking up his first Patriot Sprint Tour victory. Second would be Larry White, third Chuck Ebing, fourth Brian Hallen, and Joey Tranka would round out the top 5. Other winners on the night, Sportsman would go to Tyler Trump, AJ Kingsley in the late models, and it was a double feature for the Novice Sportsman. You saw the one that Hayden Burdick picked up the win in, and Willie Decker Jr. grabbing the win in Novice Sportsman feature number 2. When we return, we have one last trip to the Track of Champions coming up, as we'll take a look at their Sportsman feature event, and we'll sit down with a driver making his home at Albany-Saratoga on Friday nights for 2016. All that and more here on RPW.
Out here, seconds mean everything. That's why, in here, we work so hard to shave them. When a second matters, science matters. Mobil 1, energy lives here.
Where is it that going green is going strong? Where trees are planted so emissions can be cut down. Where clean ethanol blend fuels race cars and waste oil never goes to waste. Where is it that the sun comes up and we put it to work, and the passionate fans are just as passionate about helping out? Where? Nowhere but NASCAR. Learn what small steps you can take to make a big difference at NASCAR.com/green.
If you are a tracker series that would like to be highlighted on Race Pro Weekly, email us at show@raceproweekly.com. Welcome back one last time to Race Pro Weekly. Some pro stock action first from Fonda as Jay Casey gets into cousin Luke Horning, sending him hard into the outside wall. Casey with just a little bit on the right front. Cousin Luke not too happy as you see him getting out of the car, but the good news is the car was back by Tuesday night. Green flag will come out in the Sportsman feature event. A little bit of jumbling down the front straightaway as Curtis Hohenschel looking to take the early race lead in this one, along with David Towns right there, as well as Harry Schaefer would have some trouble in the early going of this feature event. Meanwhile, we continue to race down the front straightaway. Car on the move, the 10% of Tim Hartman Jr. working his way to the inside as he's into the inside of David Towns for position through turn number 3 and 4. Towns, of course, in for a one-night deal as a sub this evening. Meanwhile, Towns gets a little out of shape coming down the front stretch. That's going to open the door for Dave Constantino on the inside lane, along with Chris Schaefer as well in the 34 and Jamike Soul in the 7-11. Hartman working his way up on the outside lane on the 35 of Chris Curtis through turn number 2, as he'll take that spot away from him down the backstretch. Now go to work on second place Jack Lehner on the outside lane as well. He'll come down the front stretch, and Hartman setting his sights on Hohenschel for the race lead. Chris Curtis and Dave Constantino now working on Lehner for spot number 3 off of turn number 4 that time as they race down through the short chute. But Constantino going to get caught way on the outside, and meanwhile Hohenschel having some pressure behind him as Hartman has ran him down the backstretch. Hartman working to the inside, looking for the race lead off of turn number 4. He grabbed that spot away as Hartman now going to the front as the caution will come out for the 09 of Connor Cleveland. Off the restart, Chris Curtis going to give it a look-see to the outside lane of Hartman, but he's going to say good night, see you later. Down the backstretch is now Schaefer working with Lehner, Cody Clark, and the 7-11 of Jamike Soul through turn number 3 and 4. Rocky Warner now going to look to join the top 5 as well on the inside lane. Contact made with Lehner off at turn number 2, but they weren't catching Hartman in this one as Big Time Little Tim going to victory lane at the Fonda Speedway. Chris Curtis would finish in second, Chris Schaefer third, Rocky Warner fourth, and Curtis Hohenschel would round out the top 5. Other winners on the night, Rookie Sportsman will go to Mike Block, Pro Stocks to Chucky Domblewski, and Josh Coonrad sweeping another weekend in the Street Stocks. This season, LJ Lombardo is making the trek north to run at Albany-Saratoga on Friday nights, along with his run at Orange County on Saturdays. Our own Fast Eddie caught up with LJ as they talked about his 2016 season so far.
LJ, you're a long way from home, making that trip from Danbury, Connecticut each week. What made the decision to drive here at Albany-Saratoga on a weekly basis?
You know, we looked around to figure out on a Friday night where we wanted to run. We like Accord. It's only 20 minutes away from our shop. When you look at the competition out here, there's nothing else like it. I mean, you say all the names here, there's 20 guys that can win any week here, and that's the only way you're going to get better is when you hit the road, you run against these guys more and more, and they push your talent to the max right there.
Taking a look, last week wasn't really a great week for you here. You got caught up in a couple of jingles. Then you come back tonight and have a top 3 in the modified feature. How's that feel?
It's great. I mean, this is what I've been doing for a full-time job. This is 7 days a week, and it's a lot. I mean, when you put all those hours in and you come up here and you have a bad night, it's terrible. But you know, we're just like every other race team, though. You're a little hot-headed at first, but we dropped it. We talked to them. It's perfectly fine. Racing incident. We came back to do this. This is a great energy booster here. We needed this.
Saturday nights driving modified at the Orange County Fair Speedway. You have a track championship in the Sportsman division there. How hard is it to compete there on a weekly basis?
Honestly, there is just like here. The problem is there is it's really hard to pass. So right now we got Stuart Friesen, Jimmy Horton, Jerry Higbee. You go down the list, and these guys, they can win any week too. And you get behind them, and it's not easy to pass them anywhere, especially Middletown, because it's usually a one group track. But you know, there right now, they picked up their game this year. Chris from Hallmar's helping out a lot. You know, I personally want to thank Chris too, because what he's doing for this whole sport is just tremendous. And I guess all of us drivers, I know for a fact all the drivers here are really, really grateful for what he's doing. But yeah, it's tough there. You know, it's not easy to race anywhere at all. But you know, Middletown is it's a tricky track. I think if you win at Middletown, you can go and win a lot of places. But you know, it's definitely hard.
As mentioned, you had that 2014 track championship at Orange County. How long have you been racing, and where did you get started?
I started racing go-karts when I was 4 years old, so this is my 16th season. And I ran go-karts for a while, and I got to micro sprints and mini sprints, and then you know, after that journey there, we came and bought our first Sportsman car, and my dad, I can't thank my dad enough. He's helped me out so much. You know, this is his whole operation here, and to have a ride on Saturday nights too, it's a dream come true for a 20-year-old. You know, I can't complain at all for what we're doing, and you know, it's phenomenal.
What are the goals for the 2016 season?
We're definitely going to run here weekly with this car, the Ultimate Restoration 35 car, and Middletown on Saturdays with Bill Pasquale's number 3 car. And, we want to hit about 15 Super Dirt Series races, try to do the rest of the Deo Series. We're working out another car for that one right now. And, that's about it. Just hit all different tracks. Anytime we're off, we got a night off, we can go somewhere else. If we did Fonda last week, it's good to get out there and run against new competition. So when you see these new people, you figure out who you can run side by side with and who's going to go right by you. So, it's pushing your talent everywhere you go, and that's really our plan for this year.
It's now time for this week's New York State Stock Car Association Performer of the Week, and with his 28th, the first performance in the King of Dirt Series opener, it goes to the Melonville Missile, Robbie Speed. Speed is now eligible for the Performer of the Year award given out at the end of the season. That's all for this week's show. For the latest news, results, and photos, check out Race Pro Weekly online at www.raceproweekly.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. So for myself, Bobby Chalmers, Fast Eddie, Scott Morlock, Amber Chalmers, and everyone that helps put Race Pro Weekly together, thank you for watching this week's episode, and we'll see you next time.